You know how sometimes people are like, I just wish I had a lens to do everything. A lens wide enough to vlog with, but a lens that can also zoom in all the way. Why can't there be a lens to do that? Well, Sigma just did. Introducing the Sigma 20 to 200 millimeter DG contemporary lens. Look, 20, 200! All right, so here's an example of the versatility, the range of this lens. So right now we're at 20 millimeters. We're gonna zoom in all the way to 200. That is nuts. Wow, let's do that again. All right, 20, 200, crazy. All right, 20 millimeters at crop mode and 200 millimeters in crop mode.
Wow.
Nice. Sorry for the noise. It's just people doing things. It's always like people doing stuff like that whenever I'm filming outside, whether it's a lawnmower or a leaf blower. So sorry. But yeah, this range, I am so impressed. Like if I was a videographer, like an event videographer, like this would be definitely a lens I would highly consider because of the range. I know the aperture isn't ideal, it's not constant. F3.5 to 6.3, not bad. Especially if you're filming outdoors, and so indoors might be a little bit of an issue. But honestly, lately, cameras these days, like they do so well in low light. Right now I'm filming with the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II. Woof. So cool. All right, so we're just gonna crank up the shutter speed because I want you to see what this shot looks like at f3.5. We are at 20 millimeters, so we're on the wide end. And even though you're not gonna get that blurry background, I feel like that's okay, especially for a budget lens like this and for a lens that has an insane focal range of 20 millimeters to 200 millimeters. Like, that's pretty awesome. Also, I feel like with wide shots or even just vlogs, I feel like people don't really care too much about that blurry background because it's wide enough anyway. And so, yeah, sometimes I feel like having that blurry background is a little bit overrated. Let's check out that focal range again. So we are at 20 millimeters at f3.5. I'm gonna zoom in all the way to 200, and it does stop down to f6.3, but look at the shot. Like, that is super close. That is insane. Also, very cool mural. So I'm filming with the Sony Alpha 1 Mark II, love that camera, but I feel like this lens in particular, because it's very compact, I feel like a better pairing for this lens would be cameras like the A7C Mark II, the A7CR, the FX3, FX2, basically cameras that have that squared off camera design. Also, this lens is on the longer side, but I think that's totally fine considering the focal range, but because the lens is kind of long and I kind of use it to like vlog with, it kind of gives you a bit of distance when you're vlogging, and so yeah, this is great. I like filming in this alley a lot, but every like 3 minutes, there's like cars that come by. I don't know why that is. All right, so I want you to take a look at the corners of this frame. There is a bit of vignetting when you're shooting at 20 millimeters. You could probably remove that when you're taking photos, you know, with those camera profiles. But for video, you're definitely gonna see some vignetting, and even more so if you attach a filter in front of the lens. Now, if you zoom in, hold on, let's adjust my exposure, then obviously you're not gonna see the vignettings in the corners because obviously you're zoomed in all the way. But when you are filming wide at 20 millimeters, sorry, there we go, then yeah, you're gonna see some vignetting. All right, so now we're gonna take a look at some photos shot with this lens, and I want you to pay attention to 4 things: sharpness, vignetting, distortion, and chromatic aberration. First, let's go over sharpness, starting with this image. Now at the wide, everything looks pretty sharp, so that's cool. But if we zoom in at the leaves, it's still surprisingly sharp. And for a contemporary lens, that's pretty impressive. I mean, it's not going to be as sharp as a Sigma art lens, but again, for the contemporary line, it's impressively sharp. Moving on to the next image. If we zoom into the leaves, still sharp, very impressive. But if you look at the branches and the power line over here, you do see a little bit of chromatic aberration, a little bit of that fringing. And I feel like that's going to be one of those compromises with this lens. But yeah, there's a little bit of fringing, and also vignetting. Look at this, pretty heavy vignetting, which can be fixed with the lens profile in Lightroom. But for video, you're probably going to see the vignetting at the wide, and you've probably seen it in the video segments of this video. But again, one of those compromises that you're going to have to be okay with, considering that this is a contemporary lens with a massive focal range. Moving on to the next image, you do see a little bit of distortion here at the wide. Again, that can be fixed with the lens profile in Lightroom. But in video, I didn't really see too much distortion. And so, again, one of those compromises that you're going to have to be okay with. But in the next image over here, I zoomed in all the way at 200 millimeters, and this thing is sharp. Like, look at the details of the bricks. That's really, really sharp for a contemporary lens. Moving on to this image over here, again, impressive sharpness. Okay, so this image, I wanted to test out the sharpness of this flower at 20 millimeters. So zooming in, yeah, that's decently sharp. But zoomed in all the way at 200, like that's pretty good. I mean, it's a little soft right here. But again, we're talking about a contemporary lens. Here, you do see some vignetting, which again can be fixed with the lens profile. But zoomed in all the way, like look how sharp this lens is. Look at the bokeh. Like this is a really cool shot. And so, yeah, these are the images shot with the Sigma 20 to 200 millimeter contemporary. Now let's talk about the contemporary line of the Sigma lenses for a second. Now, they're not going to be Sigma art lenses, so it's not going to be the sharpest. They're really designed just more for regular people, basically people that want a decent lens without breaking the bank. And the fact that the 20 to 200 millimeter DG lens only costs $999, like I feel like that is such a steal. And in an era of ever-expanding prices for cameras and lenses, this lens is a great buy, especially the fact that you have one lens to cover pretty much all the focal lengths you could possibly need. You do have that compromise of that variable aperture, f3.5 to 6.3, but honestly, again, for the price and for the focal range, I feel like that's an easy compromise.
No way, what is that? That is an eyeball. Okay, all right, let's go inside and check it out.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
So I film a lot in downtown McKinney, but I've actually never spent too much time in Mom and Popcorn. And so I got the owners over here and I want them to share a little bit of a blurb about this place. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How's everybody doing? We are a family-owned and operated vintage candy store in downtown McKinney. We have as much popcorn as you can imagine. Come down, check it out. We got all the bulk candy, the vintage package candy, as much popcorn as you can eat. Come see us.
Look at this candy, look, everywhere. It's like a kid's dream. It's an adult's dream, really.
All these are completely freeze-dried.
Really?
Yep.
And that's awesome.
Anyone that wants the crunch, that's your candy.
Oh, that's dangerous right there. I don't know, I'm looking forward to this one. Definitely getting this.
That was fun. That was fun. If you are in downtown McKinney, definitely check out Mom and Popcorn. They're getting ready for Halloween and the holidays, so definitely check it out. Look, got myself a little treat. Dubai chocolate. Woo! Now, like all lenses, this lens isn't going to be for everybody. It's not going to be for portrait photographers, I don't think. But I do think it's going to be for a lot of people that just want one lens to kind of do it all. So vloggers, 100%. Travelers, 100%. People that just don't really want to invest in too many lenses, but just one, this is the lens to get. Hands down. And with that said, if you are looking for a lens that kind of does it all, you want a wide lens to vlog with, you want a lens to zoom in all the way, and you also want a lens that doesn't break the bank, then you definitely got to check out the Sigma 20 to 200 millimeter DG contemporary lens.